Hello and welcome back to Think Outside the Board, everyone. Today's episode is going to cover campaigns that are completing their funding between February the 27th and March 5th. After I've gone over the 3 campaigns that I'm covering today, one of which is for 4 different games, I will be revealing which of the 2 campaigns that I personally backed from last week. Then I'll talk a little bit about the 5 games that I've acquired since the last video. One of those was 4 games that shipped all at once, and then I'll be talking about the games that I've played since the last video. And all of those games are games that I've talked about before, so those will just be quick score updates. And then at the very end of the video, I'm going to talk about which games you can expect me talking about in the future over the next month, because I have several game days now planned. I'm sort of gearing back up with several of my game groups to start playing again, and I've got a huge list of games that I'm going to be playing with various friends over the next month. So I'll mention what those are just so you know what's coming, and I'll also talk about what campaigns I'm looking at including in next week's video. Before I get started here, just a quick reminder that I always bookmark, tab my videos, so you can always go down into the bar there, scroll over it, mouse over it, and jump to a particular campaign or a game that I'm talking about if you have specific information that you're looking for. And all of the campaigns that I'm talking about, those all have links to the campaigns in the description of the video. So if I'm profiling a certain campaign and it's of particular interest to you, you can just go down into the description, click on the link, and it'll send you right to that campaign, whether it's on Kickstarter, GameFound, or BackerKit. I believe today all 3 campaigns are on Kickstarter. I've got a lot of growth planned for this channel over the coming year, including relaunched teach and review videos with better camera equipment, better lighting, deep dives looking at game strategy and mechanics, and live plays, streaming of videos. Until I launch that content though, and a Patreon, the best way to show your support is simply to like and subscribe. And once you've subscribed, you can even hit the alarm bell, and that way you'll get notifications when I publish content in the future. So as these new series launch, you'll hear about it immediately. Thank you very much for your support. Let's get started on the first campaign of the video. That's going to be for Stonesaga. Now, Stonesaga is going to complete its funding on Tuesday, February the 28th. They had a minimum required funding goal of $73,000. The campaign has done bonkers, especially for a sort of newer up-and-coming publisher. They're already past $1 million. That means they've got a 14-time multiplier on their funding goal. This is a game for 1 to 4 players, plays in about 1 to 2 hours. The complexity on the game seems to be medium light, and we are setting the risk at this campaign at medium high. The reason for that is simply that the publisher is relatively new. They haven't run or delivered too many Kickstarters yet, although I'm really impressed by what they have done and by this campaign. And for my money, they seem to be charting a course kind of like Orange Nebula or Chip Theory Games, and we'll talk about this more as I cover this campaign. But I'm really interested to see the way this game and the kind of games they're making may change board games as we move forward. They're doing something that's a little bit different with board games. Stonesaga is a cooperative game. It's also a legacy game, and so it follows a mission, scenario, campaign type format. This has civilization and survival themes. It is essentially a survival crafting game, and every session that you play is going to follow a generation of survivors. So as you play this game over time, you're going to be following an evolving group of people. That means you can play individual sessions with the same people, but if you want to swap in people from session to session, from game to game, that will work because the nature of the session and the group sort of that you're following and playing with is going to be changing as the game goes on. So you can play the whole campaign with the same people, but it's a little bit easier than some legacy games to have people kind of go in and out as you play through this campaign. You're going to be dealing with harsh conditions, wondrous mysteries, and even monsters. And there are things like dual-layer player boards and miniatures in the components. It's been designed by Max Brook and Luke Eddy, who worked on Star Wars Legion and Star Wars Legion Clone Wars core set, with art from Taryn Emmerich and Andrea Coravesci, and it's being published by Games. Now in the past, Games has published Last One Standing, the Battle Royale card game, No Escape, and Stars of Ikarios, but they've also got a game called Mythwind that they kickstarted last year that is going to be delivering soon. And it's similar in some ways to this game. Mythwind is a game where you're going to be playing that, and it's kind of open-ended, it's open world, you're building a town, but you can come into that game, play it for a while, build up the town, playing kind of cooperatively, and then put it away and save it and come back to it later. And there's no real end in that game. It's something you can just keep putting away and keep coming back and keep building up. And I really like the idea of that. I think it shares a lot of DNA with this game, even though it's by different designers, because we're looking at tabletop games that are taking some of what we've seen in video games in terms of crafting or building sort of a persistent world, but doing it with the kinds of components that are unique to tabletop. So you're getting to involve yourself tactily with these kinds of components. You're not just clicking around on a screen, clicking boxes. You're actually involving yourself in the world. And that's what they're doing, Games, that I think is a little bit different for board games. It's not just a dungeon crawler. It's not just a heavy Euro. It's kind of this ongoing experience like we've seen in video games, but because you're doing it live and in person, hopefully maybe playing with other people, but at the very least involving yourself with physical components and that tactile element, it's more immersive than just interacting with the screen. And I think this is something that is a little bit different from what we've seen in board games and in tabletop in the past. And it looks very well produced, both of these games. I'm pretty impressed by both of them. That's why I'm comparing them a little bit to Orange Nebula, which does Vindication and Unsettled, and Ship Theory Games that does like Burn Cycle, Hoplomachus Victorium they just put out. They're probably best known for Too Many Bones, and also Cloudspire. But they seem to be building and aspiring towards that level of production. But their aim and the kind of gameplay that they're putting out is a little bit different from those companies and from other things that we've seen out there. Now, for $97, you can pledge the core box that's going to come with stretch goals. For $197, you can get the core box plus expansions, and that's going to come with 2 different expansions. The first of these is called Meals and Myths, and this includes the components for a 5th player, but if you don't have a 5th player, you can just think of it as having the ability to play a 5th character. It's also going to have a new cookbook with new recipes, and then just a ton of new cards. There are a lot of different cards in this game, so this expansion comes packed with new cards in all of these types. Challenge cards, goal cards, character cards, night, discovery, structure, item, and outpost cards. You'll also be getting a new region type with some new region tiles in this expansion. So you get that 5th character, 5th player ability with this expansion, but you also get a whole lot of extra everything. Nature of the Beast is similar to Myths and Meals in the sense that you're getting a whole lot of extra things across the entire component stretch, but you're also getting animal companions, and that's new to the Nature of the Beast expansion. Now, going from the core box to this pledge level is a $98 increase, but if you were to get those expansions separately, they're $55 each, so this pledge level represents a $12 savings over getting those expansions separately as add-ons. The final pledge level is $295. It is the all-in, and that's going to include the core game, both expansions, and then a bunch of gameplay upgrades. That includes deluxe token upgrades, which includes many of the tokens in the game, but not quite all of them, and they'll be upgraded probably to wooden tokens, although they're not 100% sure yet, but that's what they're looking at right now, is wooden tokens. You'll also be getting deluxe acrylic mining stones, which are an upgrade from those stones in the core game, which is, I believe is cardboard. You'll be getting deluxe dice, a neoprene mat, a recharge pack, because remember, this is a legacy game. So after you've played through this whole campaign, if you want to play it over and reset it, you'll already have the recharge pack if you pledge at this pledge level. You'll also get a faux leather journal, so you can kind of make notes as you're playing the game, and this way it'll be more thematic than just grabbing a generic notepad. And finally, you'll be getting a combined art book and cookbook. So it will have art from the game, but that will also be paired with all of the cooking recipes in the game, so you can use it as a reference. Now, as I mentioned before, if you want to get the expansions separately as add-ons, let's say you only want one and not both, you can do that. It is $55 for the Myths and Meals expansion. It's also $55 for the Nature of the Beast expansion. The deluxe acrylic mining stones are $10 as an add-on. The deluxe token upgrade is $25 as an add-on. The deluxe dice are $15. The neoprene mat is $40. The faux leather-bound journal is $15, and the art book / cookbook is also $15. The recharge pack is $10 as an add-on, and then there are also sleeves available. Now, the sleeves aren't included in any of the pledge levels, so if these are something that you want, you'll need to add them on no matter what pledge level that you pledge at. For $35, you can add on the sleeve pack that will get you enough sleeves for the core game, plus all of the stretch goals that are associated with the core game. Or for $50, you can add on a sleeve pack that will include enough sleeves for the core game, both expansions, and all stretch goals that are associated with everything. In the continental US, you're looking at a shipping estimate of $25, $30, or $40, depending on which of those 3 levels you're pledging at. And Games is planning on delivering Stonesaga in April of 2024. From there, we go to our second campaign, which is actually for 4 different games: Chomp, Sail, Couture, and Mindspace. Now, this campaign is going to complete its funding on Thursday, March 2nd. It had a funding goal of $20,000. They're currently at $376,000. That puts them at a 19-time multiplier of their funding goal. So while Stonesaga had the richest campaign in terms of pure dollars, because they were over $1 million, this campaign has the highest multiplier of the video because their funding goal was smaller. We're talking about 4 kind of smaller box games in this campaign. Now, they have a variety of player counts, but they all play in about 20 to 30 minutes. Chomp is going to play 1 to 4 players in 20 minutes. Sail is a 2-player only game that plays in about 20 minutes. Couture is a game for 3 to 6 players, so it has a little bit of a higher player count. You need 3 people to play it. That will also play in 20 minutes. And then Mindspace is a 1 to 5 player game, so that one can be played solo, and it plays in 30 minutes. Now, Chomp is an original design, but Sail is a redesign of a Japanese game called Hamlin Cave. Couture is a redesign of a game called Golden Animals, and Mindspace is a redesign of a game called 4.5 Tatami Mat Galaxy. All of the games are on the light end of the complexity scale, and we're going to set the risk associated with this campaign at medium-low. Now, Chomp is a game that's all about feeding your dinosaurs, and it's a tile placement game. And on your turn, you're going to have a choice to either take a point-scoring goal card or the ability to expand your land. Sail is a trick-taking game. It's specifically for 2 players, so it's kind of a head-to-head game, but it's not just a card game. There is also sort of a physical board element. You're going to be steering your ships around and feeding a kraken. And there's a scenario book for it, and it plays across 4 different difficulty levels. Now, Couture is an auction and bidding game. Every turn there's going to be 3 different items that are up for auction. So you're going to be making decisions about which of those 3 auctions is most important to you or more important than the other auctions, and how that compares with other auctions that you've won, and in general your kind of evolving goal for the game. Mindspace is a roll and write game. It's got dice, it's sort of puzzly, it involves polyominoes, it's got pattern building, and you're going to be using the cards and dice to create a little grid of polyominoes that you'll be building and arranging as you play this roll and write game. Chomp was designed by Clarence Simpson, who previously worked on a game called Merchants of Magic: A Set of Watch Tale, as well as The Wolves, that was published, I believe, late last year from Pandasaurus Games. It's got art from Anka Gavral, who previously worked on Bites, On Tour, and QE, and Daniel Profiri, who's worked on Habitats, Mountain Goats, and Sequoia. Sail is a co-design by Akiyama Koryo and Korzu Yusei, with art from Weberson Santiago, who's worked on The Bloody Inn, Coup, and Whirling Witchcraft. Couture is a design from Yusuke Sato, who's worked on Don't Mess with Cthulhu, Time Bomb, and Temple des Schreckens, with art from Hannah Murgo. And Mindspace is a design from Naao Shimamura, with art by Julianne Griep. Now, all 4 games are being published by Allplay. That is the new name for BoardGameTables.com. They started their business making board game tables. Previously, they've had that .com in their name. So now that they're getting deeper into publishing games, they're sort of rebranding themselves as Allplay. But you may have known them previously as BoardGameTables.com, and under that name, they're best known for publishing Habitats, On Tour, and QE. For $19, you can pledge any one of those games, and each one has its own pledge level. Also, the way that Kickstarter is working these days, if you go and you make a pledge, you can add on multiple pledges into your pledge. So if you wanted to pledge more than just one of those games, once you select one and start to make that pledge, you can add on the others. For $76, you can pledge the bundle price that will get you all 4 games, as well as 2 expansions and 4 upgrade packs. So each of those games is going to have a component upgrade pack. I'm not going to go into the prices as add-ons because they're not actually listed as add-ons in the campaign, but you can add them on. If you were to add them on, they'd be $7 to $10 each, depending on the pack. The 2 sort of mini expansions that are coming in that bundle, one is for Chomp. It's called the Flyers and Scavengers expansion, and the other one is for Sail, and it's called the Seafarers expansion. The final pledge level for $199 is called All the Small Games. That's going to get you everything in that previous pledge level. So all 4 games, all 4 component upgrade packs, those 2 mini expansions, but you're going to get several more games and several more component upgrade packs. These are other games that BoardGameTables.com, now Allplay, has published in the past. That includes 9 lives and a component upgrade pack that would be $7 on its own, Big Top and a component upgrade pack that would be $12 on its own, and Ghosts of Christmas and a component upgrade pack that would be $7 on its own. Then you'll also get these 4 games, and none of these 4 games have component upgrade packs, so these are just the games themselves. Dandelions, GPS, Mountain Goats, and Sequoia. The very first one, Dandelions, would be $19 as an add-on. The other 3 games would all be $14 as an add-on. Now, in the continental US, your shipping is estimated at $4. It doesn't matter what pledge level that you pledge at. So if you pledge for 1 game, it's $4 in shipping. If you pledge for that huge All the Small Games bundle with all 4 games, their component upgrade packs, the 2 mini expansions, I think it's 7 additional games, still $4 in shipping. So it's an amazing deal on shipping if you're going really deep and you're getting everything. And finally, Allplay is planning on delivering Chomp, Sail, Couture, and Mindspace in September of 2023. The third and final campaign of the video is for a game called The Search for the Lost Species. This one's also going to complete its funding on Thursday, March 2nd. They had a funding goal of $10,000. They're currently at $121,000, which is a multiplier of 12 times. Now, there is a game that existed that was published a few years ago called The Search for Planet X. This is a spiritual sequel to that. Instead of having a space theme, though, you're looking for plants and animals that are possibly going extinct. It plays 1 to 4 players in about 60 to 70 minutes. Complexity on the game is medium light, and we're going to set the risk associated with this campaign at medium low. Now, this is a deduction game. It works on action points, And it also has an app that's required to play. So that's something I think people should be aware before they back. You will need the app to be able to play this game. The other thing that's a little bit different about this campaign, you'll see as we kind of get deeper into this entry, is that there are no extras. There's no add-ons. So you're just pledging the game, and then you're going to be getting that game. Now, if you look a lot at online retailers, you'll see that they're already promoting the game. So why would you back the Kickstarter? Well, Renegade Game Studios has said that they're going to be delivering this game to backers 3 months before retailers get it. Just keep in mind that they may make the best effort to do that, but we have seen time and time again with everything that's happened with global shipping in the last few years since the pandemic started, sometimes things don't always go to plan. And since that is the main reason to pledge this game, if you pledge this game, you're going to be paying shipping through this campaign. Whereas, if you go through an online retailer later, you can probably get a markdown price. And if you're ordering other games with it, get free shipping. So you will end up paying more for it, most likely, through this campaign. And the main reason to do it is to get it 3 months early. But just know, there is always a possibility that could not end up happening. So take that into account when you pledge. I just don't want to see people, do this and think that that is an absolute guarantee. I'm sure that Renegade Game Studios is going to do everything they can to make that happen, but I've seen that not happen many times over the last few years. So just take into consideration that things could fall through the cracks, and if you support this campaign, do it because you want to support the publisher, and understand that there is a possibility, a small possibility, that things could go not according to plan. So this is a co-design between Matthew O'Malley, who has previously worked on Between Two Castles of Mad King Ludwig, Between Two Cities, and The Search for Planet X, and Ben Rossett, who's worked on those 3 games as well with Matthew, as well as Beer Crafters by himself. The art on the game is by An Lee Art, who previously worked on a game called My Father's Work, and it's being published by Renegade Game Studios, who are probably best known for Clank, a deck-building adventure, Clank Legacy, Acquisitions Incorporated, Clank in Space, a deck-building adventure, The Search for Planet X, and Trajan. And as I mentioned before, your pledge, which is $45 for the Search for Lost Species, is going to get you this game, hopefully, intended 3 months before the retail release. For $99, you can pledge the Search Bundle that will also come with the Search for Planet X and the New Horizon Upgrade Pack. If you want to do things through add-ons, you want one thing but not another, the price for the Search for Lost Species as an add-on is $45. It's also $45 for the Search for Planet X, and it is $20 for the New Horizon Upgrade Pack. That is for the Search for Planet X. In the continental US, your shipping estimate is either $10 or $15, depending on whether you're getting the new game or the bundle, and Renegade Game Studios is planning on delivering this project in May of 2023. That means we shouldn't be seeing this at retail, and online retailers shouldn't be promising to deliver this until at least August of 2023. We've talked about the 3 campaigns that I've profiled for this week. Let's quickly go over which campaigns I personally backed from the last video. One of those was for Andromeda's Edge, which is the new Luke Laurie game. It is kind of being called Dwellings in Eldervale in Space, and people seem to have a very favorable opinion of it compared to Dwellings in Eldervale, which is a game that I really like. It is being run through a new publisher, Cardboard Alchemy, which I think is a big improvement over Breaking Games, and personally I would recommend anyone probably go for Andromeda's Edge over Dwellings in Eldervale and support what I think is the better publisher. I also decided to pull the trigger and pledge Set a Watch, Forsaken Isles, and Doomed Run. This is sort of a tower defense game where you've got a group of adventurers around a campfire and you are trying to stop an onslaught of monsters that, keep coming into your campfire at night. So you're trying to make it through the night, to the morning, to the dawn, and stop these kind of ongoing attacks from monsters. There's been 3 different versions of this game now with this new Forsaken Isles. They can all be played standalone, they can be mixed and matched, and Doomed Run puts them together into an ongoing campaign. And I love games, I love campaigns, I love kind of getting everything together and playing it all, kind of a long storyline. I really like storyline type games. So this is something that I have acquired with an eye towards hopefully streaming in the future, later in the year, once it delivers, and once I get my live streaming launched and functional. Now, there were actually 5 new acquisitions this period, but 4 of them were all one delivery. And that was because the publisher, Queen Games, did something that I've seen publishers doing more and more, which is that to save some money on shipping, which has gotten out of control, they combined 2 different campaigns. So each of those campaigns was for 2 different games. So I ended up getting 4 games all at once. The first of those was Amsterdam Deluxe. These are all Stefan Feld games, and Amsterdam is a redesign of Macau. That is a game that I've played before. When I came into board gaming, I didn't play so many Stefan Feld games. I think I slowly got my feet wet, but I'm kind of just starting now to really kind of catch up on having knowledge and experience playing Stefan Feld games. I think the game that I played first was The Castles of Burgundy. That's just a classic. Everyone seems to have played that one. I also played Macau pretty early on. At some point I played Forum Trojanum, which I really like, but it's kind of this kind of middle of the road game where I never felt the need to buy it, and perhaps someday I will because I'd really like to play it more. But it's like a lot of Stefan Feld games where it combines a lot of different mechanics and it does it very well, but there's nothing that really kind of makes it stand out or set it apart from a lot of other games and a lot of other Stefan Feld games. It's just another really good kind of generic game in his catalog. So I played that, but I never acquired it. And then I started to get my feet wet a little bit more. I heard really good things about Merlin, especially once the expansions came out for that. So I acquired that one. And then I played Bonfire, which quickly became my favorite Feld game. And I recently picked up the expansion for that. I've played Bonfire a lot. That is a game that I could just play over and over and over. It's so good. I like the kind of theme, even though some people say that his games don't have themes. I think there's definitely a theme there with these kind of spirits in the forest and all of these different mechanics that you're engaging with to kind of appease these spirits, bring them back. You're doing some set collection. There's sort of tile retrieval, I guess. Everything comes together to just make a really compelling puzzle. And I think Bonfire was the game that really made me think, gosh, I have to go back and get a lot more experience with Stefan Feld games and play a lot more games. And so that, I think, is what sparked my interest in backing this new Stefan Feld City collection. So another game that was delivered as part of this was Hamburg Deluxe. That is a redesign of Barrage, which is a game of his that was always at the very top of my list to play. In fact, I think at some point I got Istanbul, and I acquired Istanbul, which I like. I want to play Istanbul more, but I do like it. It's got a little bit of an older feel to it, but I really like it. Not a Stefan Feld game, but I think I picked up Istanbul somewhere thinking it was Barrage in my mind. So I'm still wanting to play Barrage. I ended up backing this new version of it. It is sort of a city building card game. It uses hand management, and I just hear it's really compelling and sort of deep for this kind of simple design. Marrakesh Deluxe is a new game that he designed for the series, and it has this kind of very interesting simultaneous action selection thing where players are going to choose different colored cylinders behind a player screen, and then they'll all put them into a cube tower, and then some of the cylinders will come down from the previous round, and players will draft those cylinders to take actions. Sounds pretty interesting to me. And finally, New York City Deluxe delivered, which is a redesign of Rialto. That is an auction bidding game that also uses area majority. Now, one of the campaigns that I'm probably going to be looking at next week is for the 5th and 6th games in that series, Vienna and Cuzco. And those are redesigns of Bora Bora and La Isla, which are both games of his that I've been really curious about. A few other games of his that I still have yet to play, that I would like to play, that are kind of at the top of my list, are Aquasphere, Carpe Diem, and Cocopelli. And then they've already announced the 7th and 8th games in the city collection. One of them is called Patra Puji, which I think is an Indian city. And then there's going to be a game called Nassau, and that one is a redesign of one of his first games called Rum and Pirates. So I'll have to decide for myself whether I'm going to continue backing the series through the 5th and 6th and 7th and 8th games. But I really like Stefan Feld, and the more I play of his games, the more I really love them. Oh, Luna. I also own Luna, and I've played Luna. Luna's maybe not my favorite. It's just the way the mechanisms combine in Luna. I enjoy playing, but it's just not as compelling to me as, say, Bonfire, or maybe even Forum Trajanum. But in general, the more I play Stefan Feld games, the more I really like them. A lot of them are different from each other. Like Cocopelli is a card game that's very, very different from a heavy Euro like Bonfire. But I really like his design sense and across, different types of games. So I'm really excited to get these games punched. They all kind of got delivered. All the boxes came in one box, and then all of the inserts came in a separate, very light box. So I need to go through everything and sort them all out and put the inserts in and just punch everything. But I'm very much looking forward to it, and I really want to get these new Feld games to the table as soon as possible. The final game that delivered during this period is a game called Stationfall, which I'm really excited about. It's by Ion Game Design, and it is sort of a heavy Euro gamer version of a party game. So you've got, I think, like 30 different characters in this game, and they're all on this spaceship, which isn't functioning that well. And everyone has different goals. Some of them are at odds with each other, and some of them are bizarre. The characters are kind of bizarre. So one of your goals might be to murder somebody or to sabotage something. And it's not like Nemesis. It's not like a horror game with combat miniatures where you're walking around and trying to be quiet. This is a game that is very much about its colorful cast of characters, variable player powers, the humor in the game, and just kind of all the eccentricities of the characters and the setting and the bizarre way the mechanics work. So that is a game I'm super excited to get played. It might take a little while because I need to find the right group of people who want to play it, who are sort of interested in both that bizarre, humorous party game element, but are also up for the kind of heavier Euro side of it. Quickly running through the played games from this period, I played Barrage one more time. I'm continuing to rate that game a 9.0. I played Beyond the Sun one time, and I'm continuing to rate that game an 8.5. But I have a couple more games of that I'm in the middle of playing right now, and while I am continuing to enjoy it, I think the score may slip down to an 8.0 in the coming weeks. We'll see. I still really enjoy it. I just think it's going to get a little samey over time, and I do like the combination of kind of the research tracks and the area majority with the spaceships. But I think the more I play it, the more it's going to get a little bit samey, and it's going to feel like it's on rails. So I have a feeling that while I'm rating it an 8.5 for now, I have a feeling in the future that score may be coming down to an 8.0, but we'll see. I've played a few more games of Caper Europe, which I'm continuing to rate at an 8.0, and this is a game that just plays very quickly. It is a great little combination of a tug of war with hand management. I'm really bad at it. I backed the game on Kickstarter and played it a few times when I first got it with my wife, and I've played it with a couple other friends, and I did okay with it when I played it physically and when I've played it with friends. But now that I've been playing on a board game arena, I cannot seem to win a game ever. So at this point, I'm playing it sort of over and over. I'm playing it a few times, just trying to win once. And I don't know if I'm so bad at it or if everyone playing it online on Board Game Arena is just so good at it. But I find that whatever strategies I try to employ, whatever I try to do, I'm always being outclassed by my opponents, and whatever they do just pays off so much better. So it's one of these things where I feel like I'm having such bad luck with it that I just want to break that streak of bad luck once before I kind of put it to the side. I played Earth one more time, and I'm going to continue rating that one an 8.5, but that is a game that, at least online with Board Game Arena, it can take a while to play. There's kind of a lot happening, and so while I do enjoy it, and I do think that 8.5 is a pretty solid rating from me for it, it's a game that I don't know if I'm going to be coming back to anytime soon. I think at the very least, I was initially playing it when it was in alpha. It's now gone into beta. I think I'll probably wait until it at least goes live, and then I can start playing it, for ELO points, maybe in an arena. But I'll probably sort of put that one on the back burner for a while and wait for a little bit to come back to it. I played the Isle of Cats a few more times. I continue to rate that one an 8.0. I did a couple tournaments of it, and I think I've had my fill of it for a little bit. So again, I'm going to back burner that one, but I do really enjoy playing it, and I know I'll come back to it in the future, either in tournaments or in arena. I've played Kingdom Builder one more time. I'm continuing to rate that one a 6.0. This is another game that I'm just not very good at. I signed up for a tournament, and so occasionally a new game pops up for me. I like playing it. I'm just bad at it. And it's not compelling enough for me to keep seeking it out. So this is one of those games that I'll probably very occasionally play it, maybe in an arena or in a tournament, but when the current tournament ends, it's probably something I won't be playing again for a while. I played another game of Lost Ruins of Arnak. This is a game that remains compelling for me the more I play it, no matter how sort of samey or repetitive it gets, because I've played it a lot now. I just keep enjoying it. So I feel that it's kind of continued to hold on and has earned a 9.0 score from me. And it's a great midweight game. It's this wonderful combination of worker placement and deck building. And, I may take a break from it in the future just because I've played it so much, but it's a game that I'm always going to really enjoy coming back to. I've played Parks a couple more times, and Parks is a simple game. It's just delightful to play. There's really not that much going on. You're just kind of moving down a path, activating resources, and doing some set collection. But the art style of it, I love. So I'm actually going to increase my rating on this one from a 7.0 to a 7.5. But it's really just because it's kind of like a guilty pleasure, and I'm just enjoying playing it for how pleasant it is. Now, Patchwork is a game that I've played really well at. It's kind of the opposite of Caper Europe. Not that I don't ever lose Patchwork. Sometimes, especially, I've been playing it more and more, and I've been doing really well in the arenas. So I'm starting to play against some really good players. So I have been losing a bit. But I'm kind of chasing the arena with this one, trying to at least make it to the platinum level arena. I'm at a point right now where I'm kind of winning, and then I lose, and then I win and I lose. So if that keeps happening, I'll probably just put it aside. But it's another game like Caper Europe that you can play really quickly. So it doesn't take a lot of time to play it, and there's kind of fun strategic choices within a smaller period of play. So I played this one, I think, 6 more times, and I'm continuing to rate this one an 8.0. Railways of the World, I've played once more. I'm just trying to get my ELO over 100 so that I could occasionally play it in arena or in tournaments. But this is a game that I think I would much rather play in person. It's just the nature of it. The turns are long. A lot of the games that you play on Board Game Arena have a high player count, which can take a long time, especially waiting for it to cycle all the way around. And this is a game that I think is most fun when you can play it relatively quickly, when you can take, your 3 turns within a round of building track and delivering goods and just kind of play it quickly. And that's not something that's really facilitated at Board Game Arena. So while I continue to like the game, I'm continuing to rate it an 8.0. I look forward to playing it more physically in the future. And I own the game. I own the physical version of the game with a lot of different maps for it. So it's something I do want to keep in my collection. It's probably something that I won't continue to play a lot of on Board Game Arena. In opposition to that, I've played 3 more games of Seasons. And Seasons is a game that I love playing on Board Game Arena. I like the way it mixes up the cards for you. It's a quick game, plays fairly quickly. It's a card drafting, kind of a hand management game, engine building game. And that's a game that I don't know if I'll ever buy. and have in my personal collection. But I really love playing on Board Game Arena, and I love that Board Game Arena gives me the ability to play this one. This is a game that I rate a 9.0. I don't ever see myself getting tired of this one. Maybe eventually, someday, I'll have to pick up a physical copy of it if it doesn't go out of print, but it is just so well integrated on Board Game Arena, and I think it plays so well in an online type of situation. Terra Mystica I've played 3 more times. I also rate this one a 9.0. This is a very kind of heavy, thinky Euro with a lot going on, a lot of different factions, variable player powers, and this is a game that I'll probably keep coming back to. I do have Gaia Project physically, which is sort of a redesign of the game. It's a little more complex. It's got a space theme on it. At some point, I might pick up the Terra Mystica big box, but for now, this is another game where I really get my fill of it through Board Game Arena. So I'll probably continue to play it that way. And finally, I've played Wingspan 7 more times. That was a game that I was in some tournaments for. I'm continuing to rate this one an 8.5, and I really love Wingspan, but I think I've kind of had my fill from it for a while, so I'll probably put it to the side and not play this one too much in the near future once some of these tournaments wrap up. Now, I have been playing a lot of games online at Board Game Arena in the last couple months, just because of what we've had going on in our personal lives. It's kind of been the best way for me to play games for a while, but I'm trying to wind that down, and I do have a bunch of game sessions with friends, with various gaming groups, scheduled over the next month. So in the next month, you're going to see me reporting a lot less on Board Game Arena games, and I'm going to be talking more about games that I'm playing finally physically in person. And those games include one friend who I'm meeting up with soon. We're going to play Arc Nova and Lacrimosa. Another group of friends wants to play Dune Imperium. We've played this one before, so I think we're going to throw in the first expansion with it. And then one of the people in that group really wants to play Tidal Blade's Heroes of the Reef, so we'll probably play that one. And then a person from that group is probably going to come over to my place, and we have a couple games that we want to play together. We're going to get through the Defense of Procyon 3 and one of the Undaunted games. And I'm thinking we'll probably start with the first one, which is Normandy, and we'll probably play several games, several scenarios in that campaign. Now, my big heavy Euro group has been on hiatus for several months, while one of our members had some stuff going on with work, changing jobs, moving, but we're going to start meeting up again. And I know that in our first meetup, we're going to be playing Tileton, and then a second game, which is either going to be Mosaic: A Story of Civilization, Terracotta Army, or Woodcraft. So I'll be playing Tiletum and then one of those 3 games. I've played a little bit of Astro Knights. I have another friend who also backed that one. He wants to play it with me, so he's going to be coming over soon. We'll be playing more Astro Knights and Baron Park, and then he's agreed to play Frostpunk, the board game, which can be played solo, it can be played cooperatively. That was something that I kickstarted and I have everything for, so we're going to take a look at Frostpunk and play that together. Finally, Kristen and I are going to start playing some more games together soon. We're going to start with Astro Knights, probably Valeria Card Kingdoms, and we're looking at playing The Fog of Love and Stardew Valley, the board game. So all of those games are games that you're going to be hearing about over the next month or two, and it's likely that I'll pull from some of those games as I start to do teach and review videos again. I also have a stack of games that Kristen and I want to get through. That includes Calico, Verdant. She hasn't played Verdant yet. We have played Cascadia. I've got Mind Management, The Wolves. I've also got Lands of Galzir in there, Artisans of Splendent Vale, Wild Serengeti, and we're in the middle of a campaign for My City. So I'd like to finish up that campaign, and then I have some other campaigns that I'd like for us to start together. I also would really like to get Endless Winter Paleo-Americans to the table soon, and I just got in my pledge for 11. It's a soccer simulator, and that's something that I'll probably go through and play a bunch of solo. And I want to go back to Under Falling Skies and kind of get through all the solo stuff for that as well. Now, in amidst all of these titles, I am really looking forward to not only producing teach and review videos again soon, but I really want to share these games with you and be playing them with you and streaming them and live streaming them. So a lot of my kind of solo play and some of my other plays of things I've been pushing off because I'm trying to, behind the scenes, get the live streaming going. Now, in terms of next week's Kickstarter weekly video, I know I'm going to be covering the new Stationfall City collection that is for Vienna and Cuzco. I also know I'm going to be looking at blueprints of Castles of Mad King Ludwig and a campaign that is for 3 games, Agueda, Color Field, and Donut Shop. And then I've got 2 additional campaigns that I'm looking at, and I'm not sure yet whether I'm going to include. One of them is a card game called Acroma, which looks really fascinating to me, but I need to take a closer look at it and see where the gameplay is in it and how I think it's going to fit for gamers, and if it's a game that I really want to be profiling and recommending. It's got a lot of different kind of cards and scenarios, card packs, so it's something that you could be spending a lot of money on if you like it. I just want to take a look at all the pieces and see how it fits together and if it's something that I want to really be profiling and recommending to people. And I also may be including a roll and write game called Roll and Meow the Cat Burglars. So I plan on having next week's video out earlier in next weekend than this video is, because this video is going to be being published at the end of the weekend. So come back in less than a week's time and there'll be another Kickstarter weekly, and we'll be looking at least 3 of those 5 campaigns. In the meantime, play lots of great games, take care, and I'll see you very soon.